Broadcast live.
Coming to you live.
We're live
From the basement of an abandoned training facility where we talk about fighting, training, and events. It's the Fight Mixer Show on the Three Beards Podcast, where you can hear about all the local and world combat sports happenings. Get ready. It's time to gear up and square up because we're going live.
And
now,
broadcasting live.
We will broadcast live
With Craig, Chris, Austin, and Matt on the Fight Mixer Show.
Hey, there we are.
There we go. Sorry,
Producer decided I wasn't going to be allowed to speak to start out this episode. Welcome to the Fight Mixer Show on the Three Bears Podcast. We would like to welcome in our guest, Mr. Brandon Lopez. How are you, sir?
You can hear us?
No, I heard that. Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
How you doing tonight?
Pretty good, man. You know, I'm here in Tampa. Just had some dinner.
There you go.
Nice. So, looking in here, when's it looking like your next bout's going to be? We were just talking about that prior to the show.
I can't hear that main mic though. The main mic.
So when does it look like you're gonna have your next bout? When is your next bout coming up? Or what's looking like in the near future?
Yeah, so we're in negotiations right now between. So I'm waiting to hear back from Combat Night. I know they're talking about where they're gonna be doing their next event. They haven't announced it yet, so I'm just kind of waiting for that. Italian FC was basically offered me the June 26th in Fort Lauderdale card. Okay. So, you know, I'm just ready to fight, man. Like I've been ready since my first pro fight. You know, I took that. I had an illness during the fight, so I kind of just felt like shortchanged. I mean, the outcome was well, but I just really wanted to jump back and fight again right after that. And so I've just been training, just ready for that. You know, with the unfortunate circumstances of the corona, you know, I was supposed to fight this weekend in Tampa, you know, with Combat Night. They were going to do their first pro event in Tampa, and they were going to merge with WCFL, and it was going to be a huge event. So unfortunately that didn't, you know, go through, you know, but, you know, I stayed training. I'm just ready to go. I'm just waiting for the call.
There you go.
So you're out of Tampa, not Jacksonville. I see you have had a lot of fights in Jacksonville.
Right. I started in Jacksonville because I was stationed. I was in the Navy.
Oh, wow. Thank you for your service.
Yeah. But I was stationed there for 6 years, so that's where I started. Shout out to Gracie Baja up in Jacksonville. Roberto killing the game over there. But yeah, that's my home gym over there. So that's where I started my whole MMA journey. And so I did a lot of bouts out of Jacksonville because it was convenient there. And I still support the Jacksonville. I go up, you know, I go over there during my training camps to go train over there because, you know, I got a gym over there. And then, but right now I'm based out of Tampa, more specifically Oldsmar, Florida, which is like, you know, yeah, not too far off from Tampa, probably about 20 minutes from Tampa.
But looking
Hellman's MMA.
Looking at your record, I thought maybe they would have put you on one of the cards that just recently came up. I mean, you're a killer in the ring. And did they give you a call for any of these cards coming up that had came up, like UFC, the two fights, one Saturday and the one on Wednesday? Did they give you any?
Right. UFC's kind of, you know, the UFC has a lot of fighters, and unfortunately, you have to have a bigger record than 1-0 to get into the UFC. I don't think Dana White's gonna, give a contract to a guy that's 1-0.
You want to know, but you're undefeated as an amateur too. I mean, you can't shut that down. You know.
I mean, they see it, I'm sure, but
yeah,
grand scheme of things, you got to think UFC's the top of the top. So if you put unless I'm CM Punk or something like that, I gotta wait, a little bit. Once my record gets up there, we'll be good to go. But I don't see them signing a 1-0 fighter for a UFC fight unless it's like, desperate measures. But even then, they have so many people, waiting on that queue to fight.
Yeah.
So,
can you hear me okay?
Don't get me wrong. If I got you.
Okay.
If Dana White gave me a call, I would take it in a heartbeat, no doubt. It's everybody's dream, So, I know everything comes in, in time. So I just keep training, be ready. If I do get that call from Dana White tomorrow, I say, Dana, hey, send that paper. Let's go. I'll fight. I'll fight
I got a plan
weekend,
I don't even need
my weight right.
I don't even need much of a notice. As long as you call, I'll be there.
All right, I'm always ready, man. Like even through this Corona thing, I had a private key to my gym, so we stayed training. This is the time to add tools to the the toolbox. Ready.
You
to
social
go.
distance, right? You were just stayed your separate ways.
Yeah.
Okay.
No
good.
grappling.
I just want to make sure.
No grappling.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe the punching bag got close to me, but
that's it.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't think he had Corona.
Yeah.
But I'm just ready to go, man. I've been hungry
That's
since
awesome.
my first fight, first pro fight. I've been ready to go, and it's just unfortunate that this happened, but it is what it is. Just roll with the punches and keep going, keep getting better. And when I get that call, wherever it is, I'll be ready to put on a show for everybody. So
awesome.
Cool. Now, I had a question for you. I was looking over your record. You had that bout in the World Class Fight League. I think it was 24 versus Dustin Bracewell. Now,
right.
I've never, like I said, looking as we've been getting this, I've never seen didn't answer the bell.
Yeah.
So what happened in that fight?
I believe he got an injury. I went for a takedown in the first. It was a double leg, and he landed on his ankle and rolled it. And then, so he couldn't put much weight on that ankle. And then it was just ground and pound, basically, the whole first. Second, kind of the same thing. It was just ground and pounding, hitting his body, face, body. So just all those things considered, I think his coach made a good, call to say, he can't put weight on his ankle. He's getting beat up on the ground and pound. We're just going to throw in the towel. I don't know if his coach threw in the towel or but either way, I guess injuries happen, and, his coach made that executive decision. He's, so didn't answer the bell.
I've never seen didn't answer the bell before. So I was just, okay, I got to find out what happened in that one. Because
I'm not going to lie. It looks good on the record, didn't answer the bell.
It's like he said, no, I've had enough of him. I'm not going back in there. Yeah. So, but hey, sir, you have a lot of fans.
It's crazy.
The chat is blowing up with everybody. Love you. So I'm like, this is pretty. Yeah, you got some female fans here, sir.
You can tell. Okay.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
I try to support the Tampa Bay area and, try to get my following in the Tampa. I got, a lot of big sponsors in the Tampa area, young entrepreneurs doing huge things. Jason Skeldon, he's a huge artist in this area. A lot of people know of him, and just plethora of people, Danilo Atenza, Reggie Reeds, Sean in the solar industry, just a lot of people that are up and coming that are doing huge things. We're filming a short film documentary. My producer, shout out to DJ Haji. But yeah, we're showing a short film documentary, should be leaking in the next 2 months. And we're just ready for Netflix to say, hey, we're going to offer you this for it. And we're going to say, hey, we don't want you, Netflix. We're bigger than that. So that's the goal for that. We want to be bigger than the norm, So
yes.
It's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how has your experience been being on? Good Lord, that's a large comment.
Yeah,
Face now, man, that's crazy.
Wow, Lynn's making us read out here. I'm like,
Reading is fundamental.
Okay, now one of the comments saying you're filming a porn. Is that true, or are you actually filming a documentary?
It's a documentary. Yeah.
That's what they all say.
We'll start the shenanigans. You finish them.
Yeah. No,
that's great.
I was going to ask you. So, so far, career-wise, have you enjoyed your time at Combat Night?
Say that again. You said
at Combat Night. How has that been? So far working, fighting.
It's been amazing. I did my first bout with Combat Night in Sarasota. This was probably a little less than 3 years ago, and I've stuck with Combat Night. Just Mitchell and their whole staff, like Richard, all those guys are just amazing. They have that like base where they started with Josh Saman, who's was a pioneer in the sport, and I just like their whole organization, how it was built and what they're about and what they represent. Florida based, and they just continue to grow, with everything. Even just I'm doing the last professional MMA bout in the world, and to pave the way for the UFC is huge, like ESPN doing that interview on them, the story on them. It's just it's huge for Combat Night. It's nice to see them grow. I'm more than happy to be a part of that organization, as they continue to grow, and they take care of me, and I try to shout them out and do whatever I need to do to grow them, because we're all a team at the end of the day, supporting, Florida fighters, and they bring in fighters from everywhere. And, I'm just looking forward to grow and, climb the ladders with Combat Night, and get that ticket with the UFC one day,
Definitely.
Oh yeah, Mr. Holly was a really nice guy. I said we really enjoyed interviewing.
Yeah.
He was amazing. I mean, I got a question. Like, do other MMA fighters in the state of Florida not support each other as far as just looking at their take? I mean, a lot of the podcasts don't have a lot of viewers. Like, we'll post you out there tonight, let them know, hey, and it doesn't get a lot of views. Is there anybody that's like don't support each other? I mean, that was the question I had, because I see you have a lot of followers right now. But
it really just depends, man. Like, at the end of the day, the Florida circuit needs to stick together. If you have a gym you can go visit in another town and get some training in with different bodies, that's amazing. Like, all my opponents, I stay like humble to, like David Romano, who's a beast here. He's another wrestler. People are like, oh, two wrestlers going to clash up. What's going to happen? He was my worst, like, that guy is a beast. That guy, he dropped down to 155. I fought him at 170, and I stay in contact with him. He comes in, we grapple all the time. He comes to my gym, and it's just, you really just need to keep that circuit, keeping the Florida circuit, because we're all together. There's MMA is so big that when you're together, you're stronger. It's like if you try to like beef up and be like, oh well, this is my gym, and like, screw that, and I'm not gonna be associated with this guy who's from another gym. It's like you're not gonna grow. You got to keep everybody together and grow together, because we all working toward the same goal. We're all trying to get to the UFC, and there's plenty of fighters in the UFC where it's like maybe we'll match up one day, but on that journey, we probably won't, but we can train together and grow together. So that's my take on the whole thing.
That's what we're trying to do with our network. We're trying to stand apart from other podcasts and stuff. We're trying to connect gyms and fighters. You might want to train in a gym in South Florida. So we're trying to connect that together as a part of, just being a cut from the rest. We're trying to be the number one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, question for you. So what would you say was your favorite career moment?
Favorite career moment?
Yeah, like, you had your favorite knockout, your favorite choke out. I mean, what was your?
Honestly, it was probably that title defense. I was going against that guy who's a wrestler. A lot of people were like, he's, all he's got is wrestling. He takes people down and dominates them. What's he going to do against another wrestler? And, the kid was a beast. This kid, he was a jarhead. He was dinking me. I was hitting him. Like, he was not phasing. That first round was crazy. I don't know if you guys seen that.
Was
WCFL,
that combat? That was
WCFL. That was WCFL. Yeah.
Yeah,
we saw title defense. And that thing was like, I mean, we were throwing hands like back and forth, like who's going to get knocked out first. You know, there was a couple takedowns in the beginning, and then I had to like gauge in. My coach is like, hey, use your distance. You know, you're taller than this guy. You're throwing for the fences. He's throwing for the fences. He's like, what we work on the whole fight camp, use your distance. And so I used my distance. You know, I hit him with a right and a short, beautiful left hook right to the chin, just money. And he dropped. And, you know, people were like, oh, whoa, shit, he's got hands. You know, 'cause I picked up, you know, we worked boxing for 2 months before that fight because everybody, you know, I was like, everybody's going to expect me to just wrestle. So I'm going to work on my boxing. You know, my coach, John, we just worked the boxing, and, you know, it's that punch you don't see coming. You know, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to put a lot into it. It's all technique, you know, just perfectly placed punch, and it just hit on the money. Like, I'm not gonna lie, when I hit and I saw him drop, when you see that, you're like, whoa, shit, like I better rush him, you know?
Yeah.
And, but it happened so quick, you know, when something like that happens so quick. But it was, that was definitely probably one of my favorite moments. It was just the rush of seeing him drop, going and just capitalizing, and the ref pulling me off. And I was so like, if you see the video, the ref pulling me off, I was still ready to go. I'm like, let's go. And like, it was, being in Tampa, the title defense, just everything about that was just huge. And that was kind of just like that, you know, there's plenty of moments, but that's probably my favorite moment, I would say, you know, just to this date, you know, it's for sure. I can't negate my first, go ahead, man.
That's got to be amazing to be on top of a guy and just know you go until the ref pulls you off. I mean, you don't know if he's knocked out yet, but you're gonna give it to him until the ref give.
And he had to pull me off. The ref like initially like tapped me, and I was ready. I'm throwing, and the ref had to like literally pry me off, you know, because when your adrenaline's going, man, and this guy's punching you full force in the face, and you knock him down, you're just ready to go, man. Like you know, once that beast is unleashed, it's like, all right, pull him off, and then you come back down, and you're like, oh, all right, you know, make sure this guy's all right, you know. But you see it all the time in fighting, you know.
Well, we've asked this question of a couple of guys too. You know, it's just one of those. Is it in a way a little bit of a letdown if you come into a fight, you've prepared for a long time, and all of a sudden it's just like a quick knockout? I mean, do you feel like, God, I wanted more? You know, I trained all this thing, or is it just at that moment you're like, I don't care, I got the win?
Yeah, I could see it, but like at the end of the day, man, this is a fight game, so we're all about longevity. So if I can get every one of my fights done in 10 seconds, God bless. Let's go. You know, because it's like why dwell on like, oh, I want to go for 3 rounds, and it's like you got another fight later. You just, you know, me personally, I would like all my fights to be that quick. You know.
Oh yeah, we see like those bad blood ones, you know, where a lot of trash talk between the two guys. I always just wonder. It's like, deep down, it's like, I want to cave this guy's face in, and then all of a sudden it's like over like that. Do you just like
knock him out quick?
Yeah, that was. I
almost feel like that's worse for if the guy's talking that much shit, and then you knock him out that quick. You don't even have to say anything. It's like, you got slept in 10 seconds, bro. Come find me later.
That's
you know, you don't even have to say anything.
That's true.
Yeah.
Very good point.
Do you got a list of people you really want to fight? Who do you really want to fight? Like, there's always somebody that in the background, like, I really want this guy.
I really want to fight. Really, whoever's gonna like make me get to the top quicker, you know. There's a couple fighters out there. My boy Greg Ellis lost a fight to Socrates. You know, he was tooling that kid up the whole fight, and just kind of got sloppy on a shot and got caught in a guillotine. So, you know, I'd probably run that with him at some point, you know, in my career. I mean, I know he's got a bigger record than me now, but, you know, I'd see down the line if he's still in the game, I'd run that. Yeah, I mean, I'm not in the game of calling people out, honestly. Like, I'm just doing my thing, and at my point in my career, whatever's going to elevate me to that next level, I'll take. You know, when I get to that next level, UFC, then I'll start calling people out, or just that higher level. But really, right now, as a new professional fighter, I'm not looking to, you know, call people out or anything like that. I just want to fight, honestly. Just I'm ready to get in there and fight. So,
I believe you're one of the first fighters I've talked to about this, but I believe the scale should be different. We had another fighter tell us that people dodge fights. So if a guy's 10-0 and you're 1-0, it's not beneficial for him to fight you. And it's like, the record it should be made to fight. Okay, cool. You're 10-0. He's 1-0. Give him a shot. He beat you. I mean, you dropped in his place. I understand you got more bouts than him, but it's only fair. Like, why are you dodging an opponent that is really not beneficial for you to fight him, but he's gonna put on a good show? And it's like promoters. It seems from what I see, promoters try to babysit that fighter. Oh, he's 10-0. Okay, cool. I'm not gonna give him a 1-0 fighter, which I think that 1-0 fighter could beat him, and that's kind of unfair for the underdog. I mean, that's just how I feel. Maybe you can interject on that a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's more of like the logistical standpoint. You got to think like some of these organizations, like you won't see like in the UFC or any of these top-notch places, they're not going to match up a 1-0 fighter with a 10-0 fighter. So that trickles down to even like the smaller organizations with the matchmakers. Their job is to matchmake. So it's not. I get what you're saying. Like a guy could be a badass as a 1-0 fighter that can beat this 10-0 fighter, but it just doesn't look good if they're matching up 10-0 guys against 1-0 guys. You got to let that 1-0 guy get a little more fights under his belt before he fights somebody that's fought 10 times professionally. And it's like I said, I mean, this 1-0 guy could beat the shit out of the 10-0, but like I think it might be a bad look for the organization if they do something like that, matching up more experienced fighters, record-wise to guys that are just starting off.
I would be curious
unless there's enough hype. If there's enough hype with it, and at the end of the day, really, it's all about the money. So, like, I guess if there's there's a viewing that wants to see that fight, and they'll let it do it. But at the same time, somebody's gonna be like, after the fight, if the 10-0 guy wins, he's gonna be like, "Well, you beat a 1-0 guy." It's I don't know.
It might be for.
No, I was just gonna say, when did you discover that you wanted to punch dudes for a living?
Go ahead and say it.
Yeah, so I'm a wrestler. Yeah, wrestling for 16 years, and then I joined a jiu-jitsu gym in Gracie Baja up in Jacksonville, and my coach was like, I caught on quickly to the jiu-jitsu. And then I went for a kickboxing class, and I was holding off with some of the guys there. My coach was like, "What do you want to do with this? Like, you could join MMA and do big things in MMA." And I thought about it, and I was like, yeah, I'll try one. So I did my first fight, and after that, the rest was history, man. And honestly, I mean, looking back 7 years, I probably wouldn't have, like, if you would have said I was going to be an MMA fighter, I'd have been like, yeah, cool. Yeah, I wouldn't have believed it, but. It was just something about the competitive nature. I've always been competitive. And even doing the jiu-jitsu, I did a couple tournaments, and I'm like, this is cool, but I wanted to get that next level. And I've always watched MMA. Like, in high school, we would freaking go to my boy's backyard and literally scrap in the backyard. Like all the wrestlers, we would just like put boxing gloves and just go at it. And I didn't know what jiu-jitsu was. I just knew I played the UFC game back in the day. I was like, I'll try to do this. Yeah. So we were always just fighters just from the beginning, just high school shenanigans, just being wrestlers. And that's what wrestlers do. We just always like that. But so it's kind of just an easy transition, just getting into the MMA game. And then I think the biggest thing was when I moved to Tampa from Jacksonville. And I just knew I had opportunity in Tampa because I knew a lot of people there. And I got sponsorships. Like I said, Jason Skeldon sponsored me off the jump. He was my first sponsor. And after that first fight that I had sponsored by him, and just seeing the exposure I got as an amateur, just kind of was like, I can actually do this as a career. Like, this is something I like to do. I've always wanted to be a professional athlete. And I was like, this, I saw after that first fight, I was like, this, I can do this. Like, can be a career thing for me. And it just grew from there. Like as an amateur, I was making more money than most professional fighters. I had over 10 sponsors as an amateur. Getting paid as an amateur is like unheard of. I mean, you don't get paid as an amateur with the organizations, but with sponsorships, I was making more money than most professional fighters that are in like the minor leagues, trying to make their way. So
cool.
I already had that. I had that mentality as an amateur. So when I transitioned to the pro ranks, I already knew what I was doing. Like I already knew like, this is my goals and we're just rolling with it. Like I already had that vision. So it wasn't like a huge transition when I went to pro. It was really just like I could throw knees and elbows, which is fun. And I was, as a wrestler, being able to take people down and throw elbows was pretty awesome. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
No, one of the things too is I've been noticing a lot, like especially a lot being jiu-jitsu is your thing. Have you noticed there's a lot of blue belts and stuff that are taking down black belts? I mean, they're owning them in some of these fights. And it's just, yeah.
That's the thing, man. Like I'm a blue belt currently through the Gracie Boss system. I'm a no stripe blue belt. Unfortunately, my gym up here doesn't have a belt system, so the past like year and a half, I haven't been able to advance in my belt system. But even when I was a new blue belt, we'd have brown belts come in, black belts come in, and we had some team come in to our gym. They had brought a bunch of purple belts, brown belts, and I was just like tooling these guys up. And there was like a legit, I don't know if it was on Facebook or some kind of social media, that these guys bombed our gym. They said, oh, they have white belts that are really black belts they're keeping to beat up people, blah, blah, blah. And it was like a whole thing. Like these guys try to like bash my gym but it's like, I was a legit white belt at that point. I had only been doing jiu-jitsu for a year. I went from white to blue pretty quickly within a year.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah. These guys were like purple belts, brown belts, and they were like complaining that my coach was holding white belts that were really black belts or brown belts, and it's
couldn't take an ass kicking.
I mean, if you're a black belt, you should be able to handle, a black belt posing as a white belt. I don't know why you're complaining. I mean, it's just you should be able to,
yeah. Like these guys were like, I can't sweep him. He's like, oh, he's a wrestler. That's why. Blah, blah, blah. Like, wow. Man, like, that's great. We out here, we're just doing some jits. It's all
sounds like you got your belts at a belt factory and not somewhere where you earned them. Complaining about that. Yeah, it's if you're, like I said, if you're coming in and say these white belts are posing and they're just beating me, I'm like, yeah, it sounds like you didn't earn your belt. You got it. You got it just handed to you because you gave cash.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I just read that question. Somebody just put a question. I think what misconceptions about you as a fighter do most people have? Dude, I'm a gentle giant, man. I tell everybody when they say you're a fighter, I'm like, no, I'm a lover, I'm a fighter. That usually works for the ladies. They like it. But
that showed.
Outside of the ring, I just, I'm a gentle person. If I fight professionally and I'm getting paid to fight, there's no reason to fight outside, Like a lot of people, when they're like, oh, that's a fighter, oh, he's looking for fights or he's a badass. It's like, I'm the nicest person. I'll come up to you, I'll introduce myself. How you doing? If I see a fight going down, I'll try to stray away from it. But if I can get in that like 2 seconds before shit hits the fan and negate the fight, I'll do it, because there's usually that 2 seconds where you can make that move where you can just negate the whole fight, Like I was out on a boat the other day and these people were trying to scrap, not with me. There was guys about to fight each other, and I stepped in and I said, hey man, like, why are you gonna fight, man? Like, you can talk people down. Once like people get that like adrenaline rush and stuff, like if you get in their face and you say, hey, what are you doing? Like, why are you fighting for? What's the point? You can bring people down a notch and you can negate that whole situation, it's having that higher mentality. And I feel like fighters have that because we fight all the time and we know what we can do to people in a real fight. Because you see it in practice or whatever it is, it's just not worth it, and what comes with fighting, especially if you're a fighter, you can get like an even bigger felony because you have registered weapons. So it's like, at the end of the day, it's not worth it. It's so dumb, get paid to fight and just keep it at that, and So that's a misconception I see. People think he's a fighter, he's trying to fight people, or he thinks he's a badass. I'm like, I don't think I'm better than anybody, man. I'm peaceful. I'd stray away from fighting. I just don't think it's worth it, So,
well, as we start to wrap the show up a little bit, what advice do you have for, first time fighters? Like I'm trying to get into shape to start amateur heavyweight. What advice do you have to amateur fighters and stuff?
Amateur fighters just train hard, man. Train hard, diet right, do everything right. Just stick with the basics, really, and go through the ring. Get as much experience as you can as an amateur. People think like being an amateur, like you want to be undefeated and all this stuff, but if you lose as an amateur, your record's going to reset once you turn pro, So do as much as you can as an amateur, get as much exposure, as many fights, try as much stuff as you want to do as an amateur, and get ready for the pro ranks. You know what I'm saying? Like, do what you got to do. Because a lot of people beat themselves up if they lost as an amateur, all this stuff, but it's like, that shit's going to be erased once you turn pro. So get that experience as an amateur. Get as many fights as you can as an amateur, I feel like I got 7 fights as an amateur. I wanted to do more. I should have done more maybe, but I think it was at that time I was ready to go. But yeah, if you can knock out as many fights as you can, get 10 fights, 12 fights as an AMI, and it's only going to make you better as a pro,
Makes sense.
Right.
Well, cool. Well, thank you, sir, so much for taking time out of your night to come on and talk with us. Really appreciate it. Bringing your fan base with you. That was entertaining. And as everybody came on, sharing their love for you, sir. So you definitely have a fan base. So.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, man. Like I said, we'll keep in touch. Like I said, we'd love to have you on after your next fight.
Oh, yeah.
To promote any sponsors you want to promote? Anything?
Yeah, I have a plethora of sponsors, man.
Good.
Like I said, the Jason Skeldons, the Reggie Reeds, Hellman's MMA, Haji Studios. I mean, if I forget anybody, please forgive me because I got so many. I got Sean in the solar industry, Danilo Atenza, New Medical, Josh Saman Foundation. They good stuff right there. I don't know, man. I got so many people. I wish I should have had a list with me, but But,
we put you on the spot. So if you forgot, you just
it's
our fault. We can take the blame. Yeah, you don't have to blame for missing something. It was our fault for springing it on you unannounced.
No, Beast Athletics, Tuck, he's my strength and conditioning coach, cognitive training. Jason Skeldon. He's from the beginning been my sponsor. It's all kinds of guys that are just in the mix, just we're out here trying to grow, Tampa, bring Tampa on the spotlight, Dana White's doing it. If he's wearing a Tampa Bay shirt on UFC weigh-ins, I think we're getting somewhere,
There you go.
Exactly.
Can't wait. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Well, Brandon, thank you again, sir. Appreciate it. You have a great night.
Thank you, guys.
And we'll be in touch.
Yeah.
So we definitely want to have you on.
Shout out to Three Beards Podcast, for letting me be on
sir.
this. Yeah, it's been an honor. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
Well, this episode has been brought to you by Broadsbeard Care. Go to broadsbeardcare.com. Enter promo code 3beards, capital B, and you'll get 20% off your entire order, along with free shipping as always. And we're getting close to that signature blend. He's working on it. So
working. I can't wait.
Yep. Like I said, that's the stuff. It's Nanny Cakes, Nancy Burke. Go to 407-923-2898. Check her out on Facebook at Nanny Cakes 407. And mention 3 Beards. You're going to get 15% off your cake order. Cupcakes, and she delivers all over the Central Florida area. So just give her a call and message her and see what you need, and she'll be more than happy to get your cake done for you.
Yep.
Check us out at 3periodspodcast.com, YouTube. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, get that out there. Go to Instagram, follow us, share that with people, help us get that growing. Twitter, obviously you found us on Facebook because you were here. and follow that as well. We've got merchandise available at both at fightmixer.com and at threebeardspodcast.com. Share that. Please buy something, help support us. There's more that we sell, then like I said, it's going to help fund these and help improve the show. So we appreciate that very much. Everybody, thank you very much for watching. Appreciate it. And
guess what we got coming up Sunday?
The next step on episode, and hit it, Austin.
We have the one and only Sam Smilin' Alvey from UFC
249.
After that, we're going to be talking to Jet Ray King. He's a trainer and future pro fighter. So tune in for that for sure.
Awesome. Let's look forward to those. So everybody, have a great evening. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you Sunday night. Good night.
Yeah.